Yeah, that's right, Anthony. And we were kind of rambling on our first episode, so on this one, so we just decided to split it into two parts. So, picking off kind of right where we left off is the question of extended magazines. So these are pretty divided among the states. Some states allow them, some states don't. Um, but there's typically a tradition of not letting people have unusual or dangerous weapons. We've kind of decided in our last episode that the Second Amendment should be something of self-defense, and the Supreme Court. But what do they know? Yeah. So we're really looking for the criteria of, is this magazine beneficial to self-defense in an actual situation. So what do we think?
No. Yeah, yeah, I disagree as well. Yeah, I don't think the magazine size really depicts a self-defense because usually, what like a typical magazine's, 8, 10 rounds, kind of thing, and I feel like that's all you need, and that's almost too much sometimes. I mean, it doesn't. If someone's breaking into your house, you don't need 8 rounds to kill them.
Yep.
If it gets to
And if we're talking about the harsh reality of school shootings, if a kid does have access to a weapon in their household that's owned by a parent, I think it's, I hate to say this, but it is better if they have a gun that it can only shoot 8 rounds and can kill 8 people versus can kill 30. And obviously, the true problem starts in the living room with parents talking to their kids and teaching them, and not letting them have access to a gun in the first
Right.
place. But the truth is that doesn't happen. There's no place for extended magazines, in my opinion, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the first part of the Second Amendment, where we are talking about how that's not going to benefit us if we did need to go against a tyrannical government.
What if it's multiple people that are invading your house? Because that does happen. I mean, like, robberies can be teams of people.
Of how many people?
I don't know, you know, even two, three, four guys. Like,
Well,
I think that warrants 14 rounds.
do you think so?
I would want 14 rounds for addressing four people in my house. But for one, yeah, I wouldn't want 14 rounds. I'd want
So if you're basically
6.
saying if 4 people were okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. You would okay. Um,
You're probably not gonna hit them all with a 6 shooter.
yeah, unless I mean if you have trash aim like you, but
Okay, bro. I'm actually a pretty good marksman. Thank you very much.
I'm just playing.
Yeah.
No, but in reality, I can definitely see where you're coming from with that, but at the same time, like I still don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, I think with eight, I mean, you've six to 10 rounds in a gun, like it's
Yes, yes. So, like home invasions, what's the percentage of people who are more than one person invading your
yeah,
house?
that's a good question
Yeah,
because
because I
I
mean,
feel like that would
we could do
definitely
this.
impact that becoming a
It could
law.
be a statistic.
But I mean, I still feel like at the end of the day, it doesn't warrant the usage of a gun that promotes more violence, in my opinion. But I mean, really, it's like if there's 4 people in your home, like if they're all armed, if you can 1v4, bro,
Yeah.
that's props.
Yes,
Like
I
that's
mean,
tough. But the truth is,
yeah.
like, I just don't think it's worth the
Yeah.
trade off.
You know, from another perspective, we don't want escalation either.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like, if we're using 6 to 10 rounds on these guys, and then we go to 14 or 16, then they're gonna have 14 or 16 or
Exactly.
a small rifle.
Well, the truth is, if they're criminal, they might have that either way. There's a black market.
Yeah.
They can have access to a bunch of
Yeah.
whatever that's illegal.
What do you
So,
what do you guys think about more dangerous weapons and police?
like
Do you
police
think
having more dangerous weapons than a
Yeah,
civilian.
do you think we should have equally dangerous weapons as law enforcement? Just a regular cop on the street who you see every day, not the SWAT. That's a different thing. But do you think a
I
police
mean,
officer should
what
have
reason would a police officer have to need a more
a police officer comes across more dangerous suspects more frequently than a
true?
regular person would?
And why? But why do they need a more violent or not violent, but like a bigger weapon for that? Like
Um,
they can do the same job with the smaller one. That
Well, I feel like it's kind of more of a protection. Like if it's a whole gang, it's a whole outlaw gang, then
Okay.
they need heavier artillery to for the peace of the civilians. So yeah,
Okay. So do you think maybe it's like to maybe match the fact that there are larger, more dangerous guns in circulation with criminals, which would you guys agree with that that's true?
yeah,
That criminals can illegally get
yes,
more dangerous
yes,
Yeah.
guns.
it's a fact,
That
100%.
to
Yeah.
combat that, police officers should have the ability to have more.
So,
Because here's the thing: is there's the whole police brutality thing, where it's like a lot of people I know would not be happy with police officers having more destructive power, but at the same time, I think that's. I mean, I don't know.
I also feel like so police officers have 9 millimeters, and then in their car they also have higher
Yeah,
artillery weapons. So I feel like right now I feel like the system really works, and
I don't think it needs to be
I
changed.
don't think it needs to be changed. And also you can get backup. I feel like for police you can call in
I was just gonna
you
say
can
that.
call in some
Yeah,
other guys to help uh
at de-escalate. Yeah,
de-escalate the situation. Yeah. So
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I think the current system is pretty well the way it
I
is.
agree. Yeah.
All right, and moving on to another super controversial topic within the Second Amendment, concealed carry permits. So there are 21 states in the United States that require you to get a permit by some means. Sometimes you have to take a class, sometimes it's a background check, or both, or sometimes even more. Sometimes there's live firing classes where you have to and get certified for a concealed carry permit. It just depends on the state. It's pretty strict in Colorado. I don't know the exact things, but you have to take a pretty long class to get a concealed carry permit in Colorado. So what do you guys think of having to receive a permit to carry a gun? Concealed, that is, hidden, not in an open holster.
So I definitely think that I like that there should be a class. There should be a long class and extensive background checks for that kind of thing for sure. Um, but there's two sides, right? Let's say you're in a grocery store and you notice that there's someone with, that has a concealed carry in a holster, right? Um, would that make you feel more safe, or does that escalate the situation more? Because number one, you know, like the presence of guns causes there to be more chance of violent things happening. Also, is it more difficult for if there was a shooter in there for a police officer to find who the culprit is and maybe confuse them? So I mean, what do you think?
So I feel like on your person you have a hidden weapon on you. I feel like you should have a background check. I agree
Definitely.
with that. And I also feel like beneficial of having maybe taking a class, just to know how to fire
For
the
sure,
weapon,
definitely.
knowing how to fire the weapon safely and gun safety and stuff. And I know
That should be
y-
required for
the,
anyone
the
who's going to buy a weapon at all, I
yes,
think.
yeah, oh, yeah, I think so because I mean weapons, guns kill people,
Yeah.
and
Well, duh.
if
Yes.
yes, and if you don't know how to operate it safely, then you can hurt
Totally.
other people or yourself as well. So it's yeah, so that's kind of just how I think about it.
Yeah, when I'm at the range, I'm always pretty scared of misfires. Those
Mhm.
are scary. Yeah, so knowing how to deal with misfires and things that happen when you own a gun is super important.
Do you think concealed carry is beneficial? Do you think it's a good thing?
I think it can be in some circumstances, especially in dangerous areas. And ideally, it shouldn't raise a fuss because it's concealed.
Mhm.
You made a comment earlier that said if you see someone with concealed
Which the
carry,
whole point is that you wouldn't.
you don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's either in someone's boot or it's in their backpack or it's in a purse.
Okay.
Yeah, there is open carry, but that's something we'll get into in a little bit.
Okay.
Another thing I kind of wanted to get into with concealed carry is for a long time, there's this law in New York called the Sullivan Act. And basically, it said that when you applied for a permit beyond the class, beyond the background check, you had to prove to the state of New York that you had a good reason for owning a firearm. So, for example, compared to the public. So, for example, like a armored truck driver who's wheeling around money all the time. they would have a greater need than, just anyone in the public to carry
Mm.
a gun. Or bodyguard of some famous celebrity would have a, higher need than the general public to carry a gun in New York. So this was struck down by the Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision in 2022. So this is actually pretty recent. This is New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. What do you guys think about this?
I agree with the Supreme Court that it should be struck down because the Second Amendment should be open. It should be open to everyone, and it shouldn't. Certain people shouldn't have more privileges than others. The whole point is for everyone to be able to defend themselves and to feel safe.
Right. But do you think people are more safe when a wider swath of people are carrying guns on the subway, or less safe?
That's a very good question because I would argue it feels like they're less safe because
Yeah,
the
I'm,
presence
I
of
get that too.
guns, the presence of like if I'm being honest, the presence of guns like it just promotes violence and this hostile feeling almost in a human mind.
Yeah,
And it's like, like it's difficult because I definitely see that. So I don't know. Like
yeah, especially in a place like, so crowded and I hate to say this, but
prone to
diverse as New York
diverse.
City,
Okay, I see that. Yeah,
with hate and all of that, you know,
totally.
maybe, is that less safe?
Yeah, so I feel like people specific people shouldn't have more rights than other people with
Yeah.
that kind of guns, and I agree with that. Yeah, I also feel like just kind of what was Anthony was saying, guns kind of uh condone violence a little bit. If it, it could also be, you could also make a take where it would make it more safe because then you wouldn't mess with this person because he has a gun. But then if nobody had any guns, then nobody would mess with anybody. If you think of a subway car and everybody has a gun, okay,
Yeah.
that would be would
Way more
it would be
dangerous.
way more dangerous than a subway car where
At
nobody
least it
had any
feels
guns.
like it is.
It
Yeah.
feels like it is. Yeah. So, but then it's kind of interesting with the concealed because you can't see if they have a gun or not. So it's kind of interesting.
I just feel like there's almost this. I don't want to say obsession, but this appeal to the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment to where it's like, oh, it's unconstitutional, but is the truth that it is more safe? Here's the thing, though, right? That is like a dream. That's a dream world. There is literally, it's impossible for there to be people without guns now, right? You can't just take away people's guns. You can't
Yeah.
like tell people that they can't use their guns. That's not reality at all.
For sure.
So the question isn't should we be should it be illegal for people to have guns so that then the subway doesn't have anyone with guns on it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. That's not reality.
Yeah. For
The
sure.
reality and the solution we should be looking for is you know um allowing it really should be an education. I think that's the big thing. It's an education, and this is very intriguing to me. Is when you're talking about the celebrity bodyguard and the truck driver, right? Like maybe they should, but I don't know. I don't know.
I think people when they just have a bigger presence online or just socially as a person, I think people try to do hate because there's a lot of hate in this world.
Yes.
So I think it might be beneficial for them to have more protection. But see, it's just kind of I understand what you're saying because it's kind of a controversial take because then shouldn't everybody be able to have more weapons? So it's just interesting and
Again,
it's hard to gauge like a guideline of like, oh, this person needs more
the
protection
thing is,
to.
owning guns and having a gun is completely separate from firing at it and killing someone.
Well, additionally, I want to talk about the 14th Amendment, which kind of ties into this equal protection under the law.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
So, like, what does that mean as far as, if we're going to restrict guns to people who need them?
But
And the
that's
Second
so
Amendment
open up to
says,
interpretation. That just can't be enacted. That can't be.
right, and then you're taking away the equal protection of
Yeah,
the Second
exactly.
Amendment, right, which is the supreme law of the land because it's part of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's just like the solution isn't. The solution is education, and it really does start with, you know, people who have a mental issue or who are more prone to committing a violent action shouldn't have access to a gun. Owning a gun is completely separate from the action of firing it and killing someone.
Yes.
They're very, very different things. Owning guns, in my opinion, is beneficial. I think it can promote safety. But when we have this culture of violence and hate and depression and division, that's what causes the bad things.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you should never, no one should ever be able to purchase a gun out of hate, and I feel
Mm-mm.
like it's such a good thing that we have these waiting periods in some states for purchasing a gun. You shouldn't just be able to watch a social media clip and then go buy
Exactly.
a Glock. You should be able to cool down and know that you actually want to have this for your self defense, as the Constitution says. Like
Hmm.
that's the reason why we have that in the first place. It's not so that we can just take out hate on other people. So one last thing I wanted to get into on the flip side of that coin is open carry. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen this in person before, but
I'm
you know,
not
I have a couple times.
really okay.
Yeah. Sometimes people will carry just on their belt. They'll carry a gun. And some states allow this, but there's been a Supreme Court decision that says businesses can decide whether they want guns on the premises, open carry or conceal. So what do you guys think about open carry, and should you only be allowed to conceal carry in public?
So why would someone want to open carry instead of conceal carry? So they have easier access to it, to pull out their gun, or
That, and also it's just like, if you want to hurt someone in here,
then
like
I'm
I'm
here to.
I'm here. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Same reason police officers open carry.
Because I feel
It's
like
it's both those reasons for
open
police officer.
carry is like I feel safe around someone who's open carrying because to me that shows that they know what they're doing with the gun. Like they're trained. They know what they're doing. They're gonna be safe with it, and they're not. They're almost scaring away a potential threat.
Right.
At the same time, like we've discussed, the presence of guns itself promotes this violent feeling within people, and it can make people feel
Yeah.
afraid.
I feel safe when someone with open carries in the room, but like
I do
it
too.
immediately changes the mood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just because kind of coming back, just kind of guns just have that presence of just violence. Yeah.
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 So obviously, in an ideal world, I would say no. But in a world where I think guns have this like again, they're associated with the culture of violence and hate and all these things. I think seeing it in open carry carries more of a it's symbolism of safety in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I
Yeah.
see, because when somebody has close carry, it's like they're hiding the gun, and when they're open carry, it's like, oh, they're showing everybody you have a gun.
At the same time, though, like I kind of said this before with the concealed carry, but it actually applies to this. Is like if there was a shooting and there's police officers there, could that what's the word like be an obstacle for the police officers to apprehend the whatever it's called the
Perpetrator.
perpetrator? Yes. I don't know. Could it?
And
So
find out.
like if a police officer sees a guy like a gun, like
Yes.
could that confuse them and make it more that this guy's not the perpetrator. He's not the one who did a shooting in like a store, right? Like there's a store shooting, and there's a guy in there who's open carry. He's not the perpetrator. He's not the guy who did it. But if the police officer sees him there with a gun, is that gonna be an obstacle for the police officer?
Yeah, I guess in that specific situation, yes, it would be an obstacle because it kind of just adds confusion. Because, well, if it's a robbery, would it be like a shooting robbery? Like, because I mean, if you're robbing a store, would
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
would you typically have a gun? Like, it just kind of depends. I don't know, because like if I mean, if we're just kind of getting into the specific like situation, in the robbery and like police hear
Well, it doesn't even have to
gunshots.
be a robbery. It could just be a shooting.
Okay, okay.
You know?
Shooting, that makes more sense because then people are shooting bullets.
Yeah.
Then
It's
yes,
just someone who wants
yes,
to kill.
okay,
Like
okay.
I know
Well,
it happens
well,
a lot. But
well,
yes.
well. The goal of the police officers is to protect the civilians around and to
Yes. So
de-escalate
does
the
the person
situation.
with open carry make it more difficult for that to happen for the police
Yes,
officers.
yeah, I think it does because it kind of makes a mass confusion in the police officers because this guy who they can tell has a gun, and there's a shooting.
The truth is that person should just immediately put their hands up.
They have surveillance cameras,
Yeah.
so they can.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I just think that's it. I just thought maybe like that was an interesting thing to
yeah,
talk
it,
about. Like,
it definitely is an interesting take. Yeah, it's just I also just you also just understand it's like very specific, but like real, but like a real case
yeah,
that could happen. So
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to bring up with you guys on open carry is where does intimidation start? Like there's, innocent open carry and then somewhere it turns into intimidation where it's like, yeah, I've got a firearm. Like, I'm that guy. Like where do you draw that line between intimidation and open carry for the purpose of self-defense?
if you have intentions of grabbing your gun, I feel like that could be considered a threat. I feel like, of course, just verbally threatening somebody, I feel like that would be a line. Yeah, I don't know, Anthony. Where do you think the line is?
I mean, I kind of agree with everything you're saying, but I think that when you say what do you mean when you're talking about the difference between safety and intimidation? Because I think what makes it safe is that it is intimidating.
Well, I mean, carrying for the purpose of intimidation
Yeah.
versus carrying for the purpose of self-defense. Like, you can carry a presence if you're carrying for self-defense openly, but then you have, for example, gangsters riding around in a car and they're like
Oh,
waving
like
up their
that.
gun. Yeah, that's what I mean, intimidation.
Okay.
For the purposes of making someone feel scared. So where does that
Yeah.
line where's that line between carrying to make people feel scared and
So then
carrying for
I
self-defense?
100% agree with what Ashton is saying. I think any action that could be deemed as trying to intimidate, which I know there's gray area there, but there's gray area for everything. And same with like a verbal, declaration that you want to be threatening or
Yeah.
intimidate people. So I think those are the two work things, but I mean maybe there's something else. I don't know.
Well, I mean, some people think open carry in general is intimidating.
But that's the point. Like
Well, I mean, in a threatening manner, intimidating.
okay.
Like some people don't feel comfortable or scared around people who open carry.
Interesting. Okay. I see what you're saying.
So where does the right of someone to not feel scared or intimidating by someone else end, and the right to self-defense begin? Where do you draw the line between those two? That's kind of what I'm getting at here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty tough because it kind of depends on the person.
Yeah,
Because
I feel like it's almost about their intentions. But again, like I said, the intention of open carry in the first place is almost to intimidate and to be like, don't try anything around
you
here.
don't know
You know what I'm
the
saying?
intentions of people who are open carry. So yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like we have a difference of definition on intimidating.
Okay.
I feel like we use intimidation a lot day to day, and it's kind of watered down. Intimidation, in my mind, means making someone feel scared, like actively scared for their safety, not just looking big and bad at the football game.
But someone who would commit a violent crime is intimidated by someone who's open carry. Like, do they not
Oh
feel
yes,
afraid? That's what I'm
you
kind
should
of
be
saying.
intimidated. Yeah, a criminal or someone with criminal intent should be intimidated because they know they're
But
going
someone
to be
who doesn't have what you're
hurt.
saying is someone who doesn't have criminal intent is scared.
Just a regular average civilian should not be, or you know,
Yeah.
they should not be intimidated
No, they
by
shouldn't be.
an open carry.
But they are in this
Some
instance. Some people are.
some people are. So where do you draw that line between your right to not be scared by somebody else and an individual's right to self-defense in public?
Well, like it's difficult because if their reasoning for being scared is just that there's a gun there, I don't really know.
Because some people
Just
have really negative
like
experiences with
I want to
firearms.
say just stay away. But that
If you're sitting on a subway next to someone with a
exactly.
gun, you can't really do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's easier to do in rural communities where open carry is more
exactly. Yeah,
popular.
yeah.
Yeah. And in some states it is actually, it's illegal to open carry in public.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I think New York is one of those states. Pretty sure.
I feel like that makes sense in New York if it's like a big city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it is illegal, and there are local bans. Well, in New York City, you have to get a permit for it.
Okay. Well, you should have a permit for it everywhere, I feel like.
a permit for open carry everywhere.
Yeah. Is that not the case?
Most places are permitless in the United States.
Interesting.
Or
I
excuse
don't know
me,
why I didn't know that.
no, it's actually completely illegal to open carry in New York, in the city
Really?
of New York. Yeah,
Okay.
open carry, according to Wikipedia, open carry of yeah, open carry of pistols and long guns prohibited. Open carry of unloaded long guns allowed without permit, except for in New York City. Okay, so you can carry an unloaded gun in New York, except for New York City,
Okay. I
but
think that makes sense.
you
So you
can't
can't
carry a
carry a
loaded gun
loaded gun
openly anywhere.
anywhere in New York.
Yeah, that's right.
So wait, what's the point? Even?
Creating that sense of,
But it doesn't create it if people know.
if people know that's illegal. Yeah, that's true.
But again, people could illegally. But whatever.
I mean, you could carry ammo separately,
Yeah, that's true.
like in
You
your
could.
car or whatever.
You could.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of what you're saying about the drawing the line between being scared and being, the right to, open carry or have a firearm. I don't know. Like that's
Yeah.
I don't know because I'd be curious to talk to someone who is afraid because I
Yeah.
feel like educating them on
Right.
or telling them at least what I think about open carry would maybe make them feel.
Yeah, for
But again,
sure.
I guess if there's someone, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. What do you guys think about open carry of long guns? So rifle, shotgun, etc. in public.
No,
No?
because that in comparison to a handgun, that like completely is promoting violence. I mean, would you agree with that?
I would say it's intimidating. Yeah.
I think it's intimidating, and at the same time, well, it has way more destructive power. So you can take out people, a lot more people, if it was,
Well, I mean,
you know.
these aren't semi-auto guns though. We're talking about shotguns or bolt action.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a
So
shotgun.
think hunting rifles
But
and
yeah,
shotguns.
first of all, where are people carrying these? Are they just
Your
holding them?
car,
Okay, yeah,
places like that. And so we're talking about in public.
yeah,
Sitting in your car is technically in public.
yes.
Off your property.
I just don't see the need for it. Like, why would someone need that instead of a handgun for the purpose of
Yeah, that's
self-defense?
fair.
Like, I feel like it's just overkill, and it's this like idea of wanting to feel powerful almost. Like feel
Yeah,
powerful because you have a big gun. It's like
right.
you can do the same.
Same or more with a handgun. Yeah.
Honestly, more.
Yeah.
The whole point, like that's just ridiculous in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
no one should. There's no need for you to do that.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually there are more states that allow for, or not more. It's almost the same number that allow for long gun open carry than handgun. There's a couple differences. There's differences in California, Tennessee, and a lot of East Coast states. But for the most part, you can carry open long guns in the U.S. There's lots of state exceptions, but it's more than 25 of the states, I think. Yeah, I'm looking at a map right here.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I know this is just a Wikipedia map, but if you look at so open carry of handguns in the United States, it's illegal in Los Angeles, in Los Angeles, but then for long guns, it's intominous. What is that word?
Anomalous? Deviating from what is standard, normal, or expected. That's the definition of anomalous.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's like guidelines against it or something. I don't really know there. I'd have to do some more research
Yeah.
on
Okay.
that. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I guess really all I kind of want to say is that is talking about like how people with disabilities or with a mental disorder or anything like that should have no access to guns at all. And I think the big problem is that it's parents in the fact that they don't monitor their kids. Like if you have to watch, you have to pay attention to your kids and know exactly what they're doing, and they shouldn't have no access to a gun at all, like in any way, if they're not learning gun safety and all this stuff, and they have a mental disability or anything like that. Like it starts with parents and it starts with education. That's that's where the root problems are when we're talking about the mass shootings. It's not the fact that people have guns. Again, owning a gun is completely separate from firing it at someone.
Well, so do you think that people should have gun safes? It should be required for people to. Is it required? You know
I
that?
doubt it. Yeah, no.
So do you think
How would you even
do,
monitor that?
well, do you think parents with children should you think they should have a do you think they should have a gun safe for their guns?
I think they
Oh,
should.
Yes,
yeah.
100%. They 100% should.
Well, then if they had a safe for their guns, then the kids couldn't get with them, and they have to be careful, of course, with
Of
that, like with the
course.
passwords and all that kind of stuff. But
Of course they should. But you know,
I'm just kind of saying that, like, I feel like the safe could kind of make it more safer, so then
definitely.
children
And that
couldn't
that
have
should be a
access.
thing. And people should just they should talk to their kids. It's the same with everything. Talk to your kids and make
Mhm.
sure that they don't have these like thoughts where they hate people and they
Yeah.
want to commit acts of hate. Talk to your kids.
Yep. And monitor screen time.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. Trigger locks and safes are the two biggest things that we can do to prevent gun violence against ourselves and others. One last thing that I wanted to kind of ask y'all, kind of like what you were talking about, Anthony, is when you buy a gun, should you have like a psychological assessment? Like, should they look to see if you've had, any medical or mental troubles in the past?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I think they definitely should. I mean, a lot of the times it's just like not just anybody should have a gun, right? Having the proper um methods or like criteria you have to meet to be able to purchase a gun, I think I don't think that's against the Second Amendment at all.
Well, yeah. I also feel like if you had some previous mental health issues, and having a weapon that can, potentially, kill yourself,
Exactly.
I feel like that's really important.
I mean,
I feel like uh yeah, it's just
exactly. Just
especially
like you
with
were
the
saying with the safe, having a gun in the house is like obviously going to lead to more suicides.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a statistic where it's some percentage amount of when you own a gun, this your suicide level, it goes up.
exactly.
Yeah, so
Um, yeah, so the whole gun argument is in essence the exact same as the abortion argument because it's just the sides flipped. Basically, it's one side arguing against less governmental control, um, and having the ability to do stuff without the government prohibiting it, and another side arguing that it's killing people.
Mm, yeah.
Would you
Well,
agree with that?
yeah, I don't think the sides are flipped though. I think the left.
So
Oh, never mind. You're right. You're right. You're
yeah,
right. You're right. Yeah. Huh.
so it's very contradictory and what's the word? I forgot. Hypocritical because
Mm.
you can't just change up your perspective all of a sudden when you're saying I don't want the government, to control my guns versus I don't, the government should make it illegal for this to happen. And it's the same with the left. Or you
Interesting.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you can't just be like, "Oh yeah, ban guns," but oh, this is,
Yeah. I feel
no
like.
government control
Yeah,
here.
definitely. That's super interesting. Yeah.
That's what I just noticed that, and I think it's interesting.
Interesting.
And I think the problem is that people, you know, if you want to keep this in, I'll say this, but I'm maybe you won't. But
That's up to you.
no, that's completely up to you. You're the editor. But I think people have this. It's a cultural thing in the United States where people want to just associate themselves with one side and follow that side, and it's the division I was
Oh
talking
man,
about.
that's so frustrating. Yeah.
You need to stick to your beliefs no matter what.
Yeah.
Like you're just following a side. Like you can be your own person and have your own beliefs,
Yeah.
but stick to them. If you don't think the government should be controlling us, then don't think that for everything. Stick to your beliefs.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree.
So
Yep.
that's what I think.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate too, because like we've seen like the past 50 years, beliefs in representatives and our democratic representatives are just becoming more polarized, and
Totally.
there's less centrist views.
hmm
Yeah, and it's kind of disappointing.
I genuinely don't think. I think the majority of Americans still have centrist views. I think we see so much of the extremes because of social media, and then the centrist people feel like they're not going to do anything if they vote for some random guy. They have to pick a side,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then all of a sudden they find themselves starting to believe more things on that side, and or thinking they believe more things on that side because they
yeah.
want to. I don't know.
The majority of voters in Colorado are unaffiliated.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally. I just you know I think the whole point of this podcast and of us having these conversations is for us to not go with this whole this division movement. We want to
Right.
create unity. We want to have
Yeah.
conversations that are respectful, even though we may disagree. You can disagree strongly with things that we say in this podcast, but we're still respectfully talking about them. At the end of the day, 99% of Americans have the same goal, and it's to find peace, find happiness, and to, you know,
Let us pursue the American dream.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's just different ways of trying to
And when you
approach it.
start to
Yeah.
to think, you know, about it as sides, that's what they want. That's the propaganda they want because all of a sudden the same people are in power. Like the same
Yeah.
it's just
Division makes money,
exactly.
and it
It's a
makes
exactly. It's a tool.
anger pays.
It does.
Yeah.
When I say that there's been a civil war in this country for the past 20 years, I mean it. And it's an information and an ideology war where, like I said, that's where our First Amendment needs to come in. You need to do your research. You can't just believe what you see. You need to, find your truth, but and be respectful to other people. I think the press is there's a lot of corruption and the AI stuff now that people see all the time. It's like just be careful and no matter what, be respectful to everyone.
I feel like so I've seen just like what are those before the election, it's like two presidents, what's it
The
called,
debates
the debates. I feel like the debates are very like it's like
trying to put on a show.
yeah, they're like trying to put on a show and like trying to like hate on the other like Democratic and Republic. And I know this is just a recent thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when Obama was debating with people, it was like a respect. There was like a level of respect that like they respected their ideologies, but they disagreed. You know what I'm saying? And I
Mhm.
just feel like that isn't there anymore. And it's because, but see the it makes more money.
It makes a
does.
lot more money.
It makes a lot more money because of the disagreement and of just all this kind of stuff.
I'm leaving that in. That was really well said.
I agree.
Well, thank you for tuning in today. We really appreciate y'all listening. If you do disagree with us, or if we said something factually incorrect, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks for tuning in. 38 Stars is an independently produced podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a review and telling your friends. You can contact us by emailing 38starsbusiness@gmail.com or contacting us via our Instagram or other socials. Thank you for listening.